Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are back again on a glorious Tuesday night. This is the world's most dangerous podcast, and you're hanging with your boy Stevie Ray. And we call it Straight Shooting with your boy Stevie Ray. How is everybody out there doing? I'm doing well, man. I'm tired, man. Had a long weekend, brother, and a long week before that. But that's how the old mop flops, man. In this world of which we call the entertainment business. Now, I got a few of my friends out there watching right now on Instagram. How are you guys doing? You guys on Instagram can only see me. You cannot see the show. If you want to see the show right now, you can go to my Facebook page. Or you can go to Stevie Ray TV on YouTube. Or you can go to Stevie Ray TV on Twitch. What's up, Kron? Well, Kron just got a question already. I think the Steelers game just went over the. You know what? I do think the delay, Kron, had something to do with it. But at the end of the day, you know, they just gave up. The defense fell apart, man. The defense fell apart. And guys like Patrick Queen hasn't did shit all year. Hasn't earned. I've been saying it now. I hear today that Ryan Clark is saying the same thing I've been saying. They paid this guy in offseason, one of the biggest contract offseason acquisitions that the Steelers have ever had. Then all of a sudden, this sucker can't do shit, man. Can't make a tackle, always in the wrong fucking spot. Be that as it may, you know, it's football, brother. You got to go back to the drawing board, and you have to make corrections. And I think a lot of people in this league today are doing things or having to do things because, hey, man, the guy been paid. We got to leave him out there. So another thing that hurt him, Kron, was when Nick Herbert got hurt. When Nick Herbert got hurt, they got no more pressure on Dak Prescott. Did you notice that? Because the kid that took his place couldn't even get off the jam, man. He couldn't even get off the jam. And Nick Herbert is already taking Highsmith's place. So, with all that being said, man, and another thing as far as the offense goes, Arthur Smith, man, I'm not sold on this guy yet. Because he's using Justin Fields as a drop back quarterback, which he can do. But the man has legs. Why not put him in position to make them think I'm no expert? But similar to how Jackson is used with the Ravens, with the Baltimore Ravens. I don't know, man. I'm just saying, if you look at that game, where he actually used his legs a lot. And they almost came back in that game. If it wasn't for a few mess-ups against the Indianapolis Colts. But what can we do? What can we do? But hey, hope guys out there on Instagram, like I said, you guys can hear me, but you can't see the show. And what we're saying on the other end. But I'm happy if everybody's here. Now, the Professor Avi is supposed to be here tonight. And I don't know if let's check and see if he's out there.
Hello, hello.
Avi, are you out there?
Yes, sir. How are you, Stevie?
Okay, the video is not coming through. We only got your audio tonight, not your video?
Video is going to be coming through soon, but can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you fine, man.
Okay, perfect. I am working on the video. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good, brother. Glad you can join the show tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Professor Avi Klein on the show tonight, and I want to invite him on. I wanted to actually invite Avi on last week, and any of you guys out there that's watching right now on Instagram, you won't be able to hear the professor. You can see me talking to the professor, but you can't hear the professor. And if you can't hear a professor, then why even look for the professor? You know what I'm saying? You're not a professor by just sitting at the bus stop, okay? What's going on, radio from Germany? You know, he's a professor, man. You know what I'm saying? We need those kind of people. Shane Taylor, what is up? My man Shane Taylor just chimed in, everybody. Shane Taylor is over there in AEW just tearing it up. Shane, I'm working on something, man. I might need your help. I'm going to holler at you. I'm putting something together right now for something in AEW. And I'm going to get with you and let you know what's up. Because I got something brewing, baby. I got something brewing. My man Shane Taylor. Any of you guys that watch AEW, y'all know Big Shane, man. Y'all already know. He out there doing his thing, man. Power bombing people and everything else. That's what you do. I want to see a power bomb so hard that the dude don't even wake up. That's what I want to see. But who am I? You know what I'm saying? What's going on? Avi?
Yes, sir.
What's up with you, brother?
I'll tell you, man, lots going on, man. I'm really happy that, and again, guys, without spoiling anything for people who might know about the tournament, but for all the great viewers you have, hey, we got a great celebrity tournament going on right now. We got 131 Hall of Famers, along with award winners from Hollywood, who are participating in something called the TKN Celebrity Tournament. Winner gets 15 grand and a 5-day trip to Greece.
Wow. That's nice, man. 15 grand and a 5-day trip to Greece. That's nice, sir. Man. That's nice.
You know, and you guys and gals and pals who are watching, my man to the left over here, a dear friend of mine, Stevie Ray, who I think is a professor, might be coming there real soon to participate against some other heavy hitters. But Mr. Stevie Ray, who has a way with words, a way with thoughts. And if you're in this tournament, my friend, it's on screen, it's online, virtually the way we're doing this on StreamYard. I see Stevie going all the way. That's me being unbiased. That's me being literally unbiased about this. But, hey, what Stevie brings off camera, if you think this man is smart, intelligent, and well-spoken on camera, you got to speak to this man off camera.
Well, I appreciate that, Professor. And I can't wait to get in that tournament, man. I can't wait to get down and get funky and get loose. That's what I'm saying. I can't wait. And when we book that, ladies and gentlemen, when we book that, you guys are going to be the first to know. You guys are going to be the first to know because we're going to post it everywhere. We're going to post it everywhere, bro.
I like it.
I'll be this weekend, brother. I was in San Antonio from Friday to Sunday. You know, signing autographs, taking pictures. You know how the deal goes. And I'm going to tell you something, Avi.
Right.
I'm still recovering.
Are you?
I'm still recovering.
The turnout?
No, well, the turnout was great. The turnout was great. The people that put the whole thing on were great. It's just the fact that I don't work those kind of hours, bro. I don't work those kind of hours. Avi, come on, man. I worked in 2-hour increments, not 6 hours.
The entire day, from what you're telling me, huh?
Huh?
This was pretty. Oh, so this was 6 hours straight through.
Yeah. And then they got me some Chinese food. Well, here in Texas, man, I eat some of the best Chinese. Dig it, dog. Dig it, Avi. You got to stay with me on this one, bro. I'm from Texas. You know, down here in Houston, we have a very, very big Asian community. You know that, right?
Sure.
Right. So if you want Asian food in any way, shape, or form, brother, it's right there. If you got some money, you got some good Asian food, bro. I'm talking about some of the best in the world, Avi. So when lunchtime came up, you know, the people putting the show on, who I'm going to say right now were so cool. It was me, Ernest Miller, and Buff Bagwell. Okay,
gotcha.
It was kind of like an NWO theme. and they had the vendors around, and the vendors had all kinds. Brother, it was nice. It was in a mall. Okay, it's in a mall, and everything was great. Lunchtime comes.
Okay.
They come to each one of us and say, "What do you guys want?" We got this, and we got this, and I think Bagwell said he wanted Chick-fil-A, and I think Ernest said he wanted. He might have said Chick-fil-A too. I'm not 100% sure.
Sure.
But when it came to me, the guy said, "We got Chinese food." So right away, I'm thinking the kind of Chinese food that old Ray Dog eats all the time. You dig? Fresh.
Right. As only
with the fresh chicken.
Exactly. Right. Yeah.
With the fresh broccoli, with the fresh all the steamed vegetables. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So that's what I'm thinking I'm getting, bro. Then my food comes. Avi.
Can I tell you something real quick? That dramatic pause almost says it all. Almost.
Bro, Avi, it was fast food, Chinese food. You kidding me, bro?
Oh, like Panda Express.
I'm gonna be.
You guys get Panda Express over there, Stevie?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. It's a total ripoff. Okay, but I'm gonna be honest with you. Yeah. I'm going to be 100% honest with you, Avi.
Yeah.
Panda Express was 10 times better than what they brought me.
Was it?
Yes.
Oh gosh. So this was that bad. So let me ask you this: what was so horrible about this dish of Chinese food that was served to you during lunch?
This Chinese food could have been warmed up in a microwave, like from the grocery store. That's what it was like.
Oh no.
Yeah, man, it killed my lunch, man. And I'm looking over there at Bagwell and the cat, and they're eating so good, And I'm like, oh my goodness, they got me on this one. Yeah. But Avi, the moral to the story is this:
right?
Don't eat Chinese food if you're not familiar with the area.
Totally agree.
That's the second time that's happened to me. One other time was maybe a little over 20 years ago.
No, but so did it? There's two kind of bad. There's one kind of bad that makes you feel sick. Mm-hmm. There's the other kind of bad that just makes you realize the quality of food is crap and you're not going to eat it again. Did this make you physically sick, Stevie?
No, it didn't make me physically sick. I was mentally sick.
Mentally sick, which could have been bad news for the promoters there. That could have spelled disaster for the promoters.
Well, I already had half the money, so I already had half the money, Aubrey. So I had to hold my composure. Okay.
You had to be as diplomatic as Kissinger in '69.
Well, yeah, you have to stay in business now. Okay.
I got you.
But I'm just saying, brother, these are some of the things I had. So now I still got to be out here for the rest of the day, bro.
Yeah.
And I'm starving, Avi. Avi, right now, between me and you, Avi, I've been training, man. Steve said, "What's up, Fruit Booties?" I'm sitting there talking to the professor, Avi Klein, about my weekend, Steve. Avi, what was I? Oh, Avi, I got some things coming up.
Right.
Okay. Baby, I've been training. I've been in the dungeon, brother, hitting it hard. I'm getting ready. I can't tell you for what, but I'm getting ready. So I'm eating like 4 times a day. And I might throw a couple of protein shakes in the middle of that.
I'm intrigued now. So you're training physically 3 times a day. Can I guess what I think it could be, or do I keep that? I don't even know. And to the viewers out there, guys, I have no idea.
I'm training.
Okay.
So the reason I'm bringing that up is,
right,
over the weekend, my eating schedule got off. My eating scale. Cron, I'm not getting ready to wrestle no damn Bob Backlund. Get out of here. Man, Choker talk about him. Have a last match with Bob Backlund. Get out of here, man.
Is it maybe?
I'll do him like the Iron Sheik did him in '84. Remember that? I'll do him like that and this that thing. I'm not letting go. Okay? But Avi,
towel won't help him being thrown by Orange Scout.
Come on, brother. Avi, I'm training, man. I got a couple of things coming up, and I got to be right. So this weekend, that is why my eating was so important to me over the weekend.
Yeah.
You did?
Yeah, sure. You have to eat clean. Yeah.
Then not so much as clean, but I just got to get food in me every few hours, every couple of few hours.
Sure.
You see what I'm saying? I got to get food in me. I got to get something in me. Okay. Then on top of that, I'm so used to my own bed and that I've been training. You know, when you're training a lot, you got to get sleep. You got to get rest.
Yes.
I couldn't sleep in these beds, the hotel beds. They were just too soft, man.
Right.
Which ruined my rest. So when I told you I'm wore out, you know, after that weekend, not going through your daily activities and the daily, you know, things that you do on a daily basis as far as rest, as far as eating and so on and so forth, mentally, I was tore down. Physically, I was tore down in one weekend.
Man, Stevie, I am sorry to hear that. And again, training. So is this going to be something that your audience can kind of play along with? Can they sort of guess what the purpose behind the objective, if you will?
I don't think so.
Wow. I
don't think so.
Because, you know, you're also a great athlete.
Go ahead.
Trained for film roles too. Putting that out there.
Yes. That's one of them.
Wow.
I haven't told everybody this, but Avi, I'm getting ready to do a pilot.
Congrats.
That's all I can say right now. But it's coming up in November.
Power off.
Mystified Stevie Ray versus Booty Man Kmart Brawl. Hey, man, y'all need to stop hating, dog. Mystified, you need to stop hating, man. You know, Steve, you need to stop hating too, man. Hating on my man George South, man. You need to stop, bro. Y'all need to end that, bro. Y'all, them people ain't did nothing to y'all. The Booty Man. Come.
I'm reading these comments here right now. We got someone saying you're going to wrestle Brutus Beefcake.
Yeah.
Real Cold G.
They always bring up Brutus, man. Why? I don't know. Why they always bring him up? I'm talking about the Booty Man. You know,
it's funny that
you too, brother.
You're around Bagwell, and Bagwell is one of the 131 people in this tournament. He's got David Justice in round 2 of this tournament.
That should be easy. I'm not gonna say for who. But that should be easy, Avi.
Man, I'll tell you, Stevie.
Avi, give me a scenario. Just let's for the people's sake that's watching the show right now.
Absolutely.
Let's go through a scenario, okay?
Sure.
David Justice on one side.
Right.
Marcus Bagwell on the other side.
Yes.
Let's chronicle for the audience that's listening right now how that would go one against the other, and give me something off the top of your head as to what questions of so on and so forth would be.
Oh, I would love to.
Okay.
So there are different topics that I'd like to get into. A lot of them could be hard-hitting.
Okay.
And some of the topics that we talk about, obviously everyone gets a chance to kind of, really kind of go down the rabbit hole and take their time to be able to research first.
Okay.
But, man, we get busy with some of these topics over here. Some of them can be thought-provoking. Name a time in your life where you felt the need to let go of someone in order to achieve a goal, meaning was somebody getting in the way. That could be a topic.
Okay.
How about this? Should the generic engineering of human embryos be banned?
That's a good one.
Should be there term limits for elected officials and why? Should we allow weapons in outer space?
Okay. Well, let me ask you this. Those are great questions to be in a tournament like that. But let me ask you this.
Yes, sir.
What determines the answer from each individual? What determines his answer better than the other guy's answer?
It's a great question. Yeah. So essentially what happens is our viewers, much like your audience, they're watching. Thankfully on YouTube right now, we just hit 2 million, so we're doing great.
Okay.
The viewers show up on a Saturday Night Live. They're commenting in mass. We open with a nice intro, and then when the participants are introduced by yours truly, they've already prepped and done the research for their topics in the privacy of their own home. I essentially, as the moderator, set up the question for the audience that they're already privy to, and then the participant, in this case, of David Justice, would delve deeply into that topic.
Okay.
Buff Bagwell has the option of rebutting him. He drops that index finger up. I see that. I pop in. He rebuts him. When David is done, Buff gives his take to that same question. When they're both done, the audience votes on who they think, who resonated most with them.
I got you. So the person that actually, if we're going from an audience participation, the person that sounds more convincing to the audience.
Absolutely.
Okay, I got you.
Absolutely. And I'll tell you, man, there's a lot of heat going on with some of these guys here.
Why is that?
Well, I mean, good heat, I guess, because everybody wants to win this thing. There's like a video backstage. You know, if you want to play.
Okay, I just brought it up.
Legendary Rick Mahorn, one of Connecticut's all-time greats. Yes, sir.
No, what he know?
Mark Henry. It's Mark Henry.
Might be. Oh, it's Rick Mahorn. Here we go. It's Rick Mahorn.
You don't want this smoke. No, I want all that smoke. I love it.
Rick wants Mark Henry, guys. Mr. Joe Smith, NBA legend Joe Smith, will be facing Glacier Ray Lloyd and Jason London.
Yeah, I don't have to play basketball against him.
Eddie Johnson, what are your thoughts of that matchup?
Get Joe Smith mad at you early on and get him off his game.
Wait, please say that again.
I'm going to give you a little tidbit to get Joe Smith so you can get him off his game a little bit. Remind him that he is the reason why the Minnesota Timberwolves lost the first-round pick because they illegally tried to sign him as a free agent.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to pretend to be smart enough to do that. So.
Gamesmanship is gamesmanship.
He used to be 6'10". He's not 6'10" anymore.
That was the 99-2000 season, and man,
maybe he's watching right now.
He might be.
You got it.
Awesome.
Facing, and it's another pro wrestling legend. Maybe Jacques can comment on this and give us some thoughts. Also a very good friend. Mr. Jerry Sags of the Nasty Boys.
Oh my God.
I'm going to have to educate myself on that one.
So that's a little clip of some of the stuff we got going on.
Love it, brother. I love it.
Everyone needs to be put on notice because when Big Stevie's here, guys and gals, and I'm telling you this again, when I thought of this tournament, I thought of Stevie Ray. I knew he was so busy. I know you're so busy doing so many different things. But now that this thing has taken off with 2 million views, with 65,000 subscribers in 9 months, now this arena is big enough for a man like Stevie, who's humble, but is so busy that he should enter this tournament when it has become as prestigious as it is right now.
I concur, and I'm ready. Because if Mark Henry and Rick Mahorn can even be on that show, then I'm a cinch. Okay? I'm a cinch.
Yes, you are.
Okay? I bet not see a Mark Henry or Rick Mahorn anywhere near me. Because I'm going to eat them like collard greens. Okay? I'm going to eat them like collard greens. So, you know what I'm saying? So, Avi, appreciate the invitation.
Yes, sir.
And old Ray Dog is ready.
Now, let me ask you this, Stevie Ray.
Okay.
We still have some luminaries on the horizon who are going to be appearing in a few months. What if you draw and again, these matchups are drawn randomly. What if you draw a John Goodman, a Willem Dafoe who's in this, an Antonio Banderas who's in this, a Rowan Atkinson who plays Mr. Bean from film and television? What if you draw, we have Jim McMahon in this, what if you draw Refrigerator Perry? Does it matter who you get?
It does not matter, Avi. And you know, I went through some of that this weekend.
Right.
I had to educate the cat. I had to educate Marcus Bagwell.
Right.
So if William Dafoe, who is one of my favorite actors,
yes,
okay, he's one of my favorite actors. I met him in the airport one day in Chicago.
Okay.
I didn't know how small and skinny he was, but be that as it may. Okay, I didn't know. You know, I am or was, or should I say am or was, a Michael Pare fan. Do you remember Michael Pare?
Yes, sir. Yes, absolutely.
Michael Pare did a movie called Streets of Fire.
Yes, Streets of Fire.
And the heel in that movie was none other than a young William Dafoe.
He had that 50s do in that movie.
Yes.
That's right. Rick Moranis was in that film too.
Yes.
Right.
A lot of people was in that. A lot of people was in that movie, bro.
Absolutely. Diane Lane.
You know?
Yeah.
Oh, man. I mean, even the character actors, okay?
Yeah, absolutely. Bill Paxton was in that movie.
Bill Paxton.
Right.
Yes. So, one of my favorite movies to this day, okay?
Great movie.
Who thought William Dafoe was going to come out of that and become what he became?
No one. No one.
So that's why if a William Dafoe was in the same draw as me, it
Yes.
would be my pleasure. It would be my pleasure to be going up against someone that I really, really respect.
I love that.
And someone that I'm going to bury.
I love that. I love it. I love it.
Yes. But I'm glad you brought his name up because I have the utmost respect for him. And who were some of the other people you said?
Yeah, we still have John Goodman coming down the pike, Antonio Banderas. We also still have Refrigerator Perry, who's in this tournament, Sugar Ray Leonard, some big names.
Sugar Ray, oh man. Any of those guys you just named, hey, it would be my pleasure. And like I say, just giving me the invite.
But you don't just
ready,
have the
bro.
verbal and intellectual prowess. You also have what I call presence. I don't think people understand this. Guys, I've broken bread with Stevie a couple of times during one trip in Vegas, a few times in that trip. The thing about Stevie Ray is, and again, this isn't like something that Stevie was prepared for. I'm saying this spur of the moment. You got to be ready. You got to be able to thrive when you're live, and that's what I'm trying to do right now, to take a deep dive. Guys, Stevie Ray, he commands a room because there is no topic, not only that Stevie Ray is not afraid of, but there's no topic that Stevie Ray cannot educate you on and entertain you, which is why this man is the epitome of edutainment, in my opinion, combining entertainment and education all in one word.
Thank you, brother. Thank you very much.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you very much. And you know, that's why we call you the professor, because, hey, you guys don't know, but the professor has that same mentality. He has that same mentality that keeps you sharp. Talking to people like the professor keeps you sharp, keeps you on that straight and narrow, knowing that when you walk out the door, you need to know, because you might run up against somebody like the professor. And I'm going to tell you something, guys and girls. Something I said to myself, and you can attest to this, Avi. Something I said to myself long time ago, man, when I first got into the wrestling business.
Right.
And I started meeting people. We had this conversation this weekend amongst the three of us, the cat, Ernest, and myself.
Right.
When I started going, you know, I started meeting, people started inviting you to different things, Avi. And you know how the entertainment business is. The entertainment business can chew you up and spit you out.
That is true. That is true.
Because it is so many tentacles involved in the entertainment business. And professional wrestling is also involved in the entertainment business. I know a lot of people think it's its own entity. No, it's not. It used to be.
Absolutely.
It's not anymore because it's a part of pop culture. And once something becomes a part of pop culture, then you are in the entertainment business just like everybody else.
Right. Very true.
And that's when the sharks, and I hope everybody knows what I'm talking about when I say this, that is when the sharks start to come out, and you never know who they are.
You're absolutely right about that.
So, with all that being said, you have to know your surroundings. If not, it'll eat you alive. And we heard about these stories in the pro wrestling business.
Yeah.
Okay. But we've also heard about them in the movie business. We also heard about them in the music and acting, so on and so forth. But anything out there, brother, to eat you alive. And that's why I say sometimes you have to be careful what you wish for.
Without question.
Sometimes. So don't be surprised. That's why old Ray Dog knows his surroundings.
You do. You do. You're very, I think you're very perceptive. And sometimes I think when you're in Hollywood or wrestling or any field of entertainment that you just mentioned, they all have one thing in common, which is the law of diminishing values.
Couldn't have said it better myself. I would have never thought about it in that aspect, but you are 100% right. 100%. Now, this weekend, Aubrey, I'm going to bring you into this conversation.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to bring you into this conversation, and I don't let gang out there that's listening, I don't let people into conversations, certain behind the scenes wrestling type conversations, unless I know that's someone that actually knows exactly what I'm talking about. Right. And can give real insight with an opinion. Lawman said Oprah is on. What? Shut up. I'm blocking you, bro. Blocking you. What you talking about? Yeah, he talking about Oprah is on. I know Oprah wish. Oprah, look, that phony show. That phony. Let me tell you about Oprah. First of all, don't even bring Oprah Winfrey's name up on this show. Okay? That's first and foremost. That is the same woman, okay, that brought Mark Furman on her show. See, now you got me pissed off.
Yes.
Lawman, you got me pissed off now. But I'm finna bring you up to speed, okay? I'm finna bring you up to speed. This is the same woman that brought Mark. You know who Mark Furman is? I give you time to answer.
I'll tell you guys. I'll give you a hint. In '97, when he was
don't help him. Don't help him, Bobby.
I won't even help him.
Don't help him, Professor.
But man, oh man, did she cater to him? You're right about that.
Okay, he says, yeah. Okay. Do you know what Mark Furman did? Do you remember? If not, I will tell you. Mark Furman is the police officer that lied, okay, committed perjury at the O.J. Simpson trial. Perjury. He should have been arrested before he even walked out the courtroom.
Totally agree.
Yes. Then all this stuff comes out about him and his cohorts, okay, and what they were doing as corrupt police officers.
Wouldn't you agree, Stevie, they had a legacy of deception?
Yes, legacy of deception. You know what I'm saying? So be that as it may, this guy actually was one of the main people testifying, and he was a liar. Then on top of that, DTA said planted evidence as well. DTA, we'll be here all night. We'll be here all night if we talked about everything the man was involved in.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just trying to let Lawman know this and the Oprah Winfrey thing. This is what when you really think about Oprah Winfrey, when you really think about it, she brings this man on the show and treated him as if he was the victim. Absolutely. Are you kidding me, bro?
Absolutely.
First of all, If I'm a Oprah Winfrey, somebody with a talk show like that, and your people call me and say, you want Mark Furman on the show, I'm going to eat him alive, bro. I'm going to eat him alive. I'm not going to treat him like you're a victim.
Yep.
I'm going to get down to the real nitty gritty of what you really been doing. Why would you move to a place where known white supremacists reside? What about that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Good point. Very good point.
Because I'm going to tell you like this, brother, there's something that I'm going to get into with Avi in a few minutes. There's something called gatekeepers.
Yes.
Okay? And you don't get to be no billionaire unless you can roll, unless they let you roll with them. And one of the main things you have to do as it pertains to Oprah Winfrey, you can't bring your people with you. You have to demagogue them also. Just like she did with Michael Jackson.
It's very poignant. You're right.
Yes. Don't get me started on her, bro. You're going to turn you really going to turn my demeanor inside out, bro. Because see, y'all don't know like I know. Because I done talked to a lot of people that's in the game that I'll never talk about. But be that as it may, let me go back to, damn, y'all got me upset.
Well, Stevie, I think on Saturday you were saying you had a philosophical conversation with Ernest Miller and Buff Bagwell about the industry, the film industry.
Okay, you got me. Let me calm down. I'm trying to calm down. But
Oprah
anyway,
gets my blood pressure up too, so I'm with you. She really does.
I just, the real truth will never come out because you know what I'm talking about, Aubrey.
Absolutely.
She's part of the group. She part of the group.
She's an elitist, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? But be that as it may. I was having a conversation.
Hey, Loman, you should be consider yourself lucky you didn't bring up 1%ers. Believe me. I'm sorry, Steve.
Coastal Spartan said Kanye West is a platinum member of that group also. No, he's not. No, he's not. He thought he was. No, he's not. But anyway, sorry, dude, I'm watching. Oh, Laman, I'm just messing with you. He said he watching, he love Elvis and Lisa Marie. So do I. I'm a huge Elvis fan. But I want to see Elvis side of it, not Lisa Marie. But Professor, check this out, bro.
Yes, sir.
Check it out. I need your professional opinion on a couple of things. Okay. This weekend, Ernest and I and Bagwell was having a conversation. Now, if something came out, and guys out there that's listening, I didn't see this article. It was told to me. Then again, I might have read it somewhere. You guys know how I am. I can read stuff and don't even remember reading stuff. And then somebody will mention something, and then all the stuff will start popping out my head. And I'd go, I must have seen that somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't remember. You guys got to remember, I've been hit on the head with chairs many, many times. Okay. So I might have some kind of inverted brain problems.
Yeah, but your level of retention is amazing. I could talk to Steve about the most random thing in the world. It'll trigger something, and all of a sudden, like you mentioned, now there's facts. Now there's a presentation that you bring. I'm like, the way you could we could be talking about, and again, we've had hour of conversations about movies like Ghost Dad, for crying out loud, that like went 2-3 hours. And you'll be educated on all things Ghost Dad by Stevie. Like, it's incredible.
But I appreciate that, Avi. But check this out, Avi.
Yeah.
We on a serious note, okay?
Yes, sir.
It was an article out there, Avi, and I'm not sure if you're aware of this article. Apparently, somebody said something about Triple H.
Right.
It is something in the wind right now. And guys out there that's listening to the show, you guys can help educate me on this too, because I don't know if I saw the article or someone told me about it. But it was about Triple H that someone asked him about African American representation on the WWE show. Do you know anything about that? Or have you heard anything about that?
I did from just a couple of the guys that, of course, are in the locker room. But yeah, I
Okay.
did. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Okay. Now, what I was trying to say to Kat, mainly Kat, who brought it up, but Bagwell was in the conversation too, that, but I've said this on many shows and people know that I've said that African-American representation on that show would never be like any other group of people ever.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So what I was trying to tell to the Cat and Ern is that they were saying that makes him racist. Let you hear my part. What I was trying to say to them and explain to them, just because someone is a gatekeeper does not make, I'm not saying he's racist, I'm not saying he's that, but you can't use that to say somebody is racist, because WWE, and you know, just like any other company, mainstream company that makes billions of dollars, they have an audience.
Yes.
And they have to pander to that audience.
And
that's business sometimes. That doesn't necessarily mean that's racist. I want to ask you, do you agree with that or don't you?
Well, no, I do, because most people don't even know how to define the word. And I'm not talking textbook. I'm not.
No. You taking the words out of my mouth, of which I was saying this weekend. But go ahead.
To me, you're bringing up something that's much more fundamental and prevalent in the entertainment industry, because, as you mentioned, he's a cog. He is a cog, and he's part of a machine that's way bigger than him.
Mm-hmm.
There are people right now that don't understand demographic breakdowns, and I don't blame them, because, man, if you're watching a sporting event or a wrestling match, the last thing you want to think, I'm not trying to be all stuffy with anybody, but the suits and ties who do run this place.
Hey, wait a minute. Before you, I don't mean to cut you off.
Yes, sir.
Alpha, you got lucky, okay? You got lucky. And I hate to say that, you know, but I take that back. You got very fortunate. I'm not going to say luck, because to me, luck is where preparation meets opportunity.
Yes,
so
sir.
You can go either way. But
Pittsburgh
you got
beat themselves. They beat themselves.
You know, but I'm gonna let him off the hook. You lucky the professor on here today, bro. I'd be on your ass like collard greens, bro. I ain't bullshitting. But anyway, Avi, go ahead. I ain't mean to cut you off. Go ahead. He told me he don't want to hear it. I'm cutting him off.
There's a good example here of like what's happening across the board when it comes to people that think that any sort of comment or response to a situation is racist. There is a ton of racism, a ton.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, when you're speaking to a mass audience that's consuming your product,
right,
that's paying tickets for live events,
right,
that are now spending upwards of 5 to 6 figures on WrestleMania tickets ahead of time.
Can you believe it? But it's true.
That is insane. When your corporate dollars that are being essentially provided to you by sponsors and private investors,
right,
that are catering to a predominantly white audience on television, that is.
Right.
You're going to tell me a guy like Triple H didn't get the memo? A guy who's the COO of the company doesn't understand that catering to a demographic that is predominantly white is not how his butter is bread, or his bread is buttered. He knows exactly who to cater to. And when his comment was that he doesn't see color, I think he said that storytelling is blind. He doesn't see color. He doesn't see nationality. He just sees talent.
Let me tell you something.
That is
let me tell you something as it pertains to that. Let me cut you off right there.
Yeah.
That's the worst thing in the world he could have ever said. That's exactly what was told to me. That's the worst thing in the world you could ever say. And let me tell you something. This is coming from Dr. Jane Elliott, and you know exactly who she is.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. That is one of the first things she says that identifies racism, when someone uses that quote.
Yes.
And I think he did it out of ignorance, though. If you see what I'm saying, not that he's a dumb guy, ignorance that, you know, saying that statement and how deep it can be without you actually knowing it.
Absolutely.
Because like I was telling those guys, we all see color. We all see color. It's not nothing wrong with seeing color, race, religion, creed, so on and so forth. But do you respect it?
Correct.
Do you respect it? Because that's what the TV show Star Trek was trying to show you. That's what the movie Star Wars was trying to show you. Am I not right about that?
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
But anyway, go ahead.
You bring up Jane Elliott, and I remember teaching my class about an exercise she had called Blue Eyes, Brown Eyes.
Yes.
And she was chastised in the 60s for teaching a lot of white kids, predominantly white kids, about race in the classroom.
Mm-hmm.
I call it more ignorance than racism today that's predominant because for the most part, people have no idea that what they're saying is more than just offensive.
Right.
But inherently ignorant.
Right.
It's systemic.
Right.
And when you have systemic racism, the funny thing about this, and it's ironic, is it'll never really truly show a color because it's methodical.
Right.
It lives in the corporate sector. It breeds in the public.
Mm-hmm.
But it's systemic. It's planned.
Right.
That Triple H comment was more ignorant off the cuff, and as you mentioned, he had no idea the kind of repercussions it might have.
Right.
True racism is never spoken, but it
Right.
definitely is seen. It's definitely seen more than it's spoken.
That's 100% true. So in essence,
time in 2024 where a guy like Triple H knows that if he says anything inherently racist, and this guy watches his steps really well, he knows
Right.
it's going to hurt the corporate dollar, Stevie.
Right.
He knows that.
Right. And that's why I was telling them I give him a pass on that.
Right.
Because that's a defense mechanism in a lot of ways. But in essence, he's never been around the education of racism like you and I have.
Right.
And that's why I tell people, and tell me if you think I'm wrong about this.
Okay.
Talking about race or racism, how it's structured within the American educational system is very, very difficult.
This is true.
Because you'll never learn it there. You have to go outside the educational system to really learn what that whole genre is all about. Just like when you brought up the system, just like when you brought up the systemic side of it.
Yeah.
Which is perpetually conveyed from one part of a century to another.
Can I ask you a question, Stevie, about this? Is that okay?
Go ahead.
I want to get your opinion on this because, and again, just to put some context here, let me preface this question by mentioning the fact that when Stevie and I have a lot of deep discussions, guys, we go everywhere, and there's no fear of going anywhere because we know that the only way to confront an issue is to tackle it head on. Head on. In 2024, that could sound controversial, but, you know, again, we tackle it head on because we know that that's the only way to be able to get sort of behind the scenes on things, lifting up the curtain. Do you think that education should make it impossible to accept bigotry? And can that even happen?
Well, you know what? When you ask something like that, who's going to be in charge of it? The people that preach it and teach it?
Yes.
Or the people that live it?
Are the people that teach it required to have lived it?
Okay, well, how do you test them?
If there was a way for you, and you know, this is, maybe we'll add some levity in this. There was a place, guys and gals, that somehow allowed every single person that beckoned its name to think of something more magnificent than unicorns and Lucky Charms cereal. It's a place called Stevie Land. It's a place called Stevie Land. And if you guys think you know about Stevie Land, I was one of the first residents 2 years ago talking about Stevie Land, but it was just being conceptualized. How about that? Now, in a place called Stevie Land, if Mr. Stevie Ray, the president, guys and gals, the CEO, the owner of Stevie Land to my left, Mr. Stevie Ray, guys and gals, who will never play. This is a man who is qualified to bring teachers and educators and scholars into his schools. Would that be a prerequisite? And do you think there's a way to somehow, in 2024, where everything is monitored, is there a way to qualify a teacher based on their life experiences, not just their academic prowess.
Well, I think if it's a will, it's a way.
Right.
I honestly believe that if it's a will, there is a way. But in Stevie, it's not Stevie Land, it's Stevieville.
Stevieville, my
Okay?
fault. My fault.
Okay.
Yep.
But in Stevieville, this is when I talk about the American educational system.
Yeah.
There's rules and regulations, and ladies and gentlemen, a lot of people don't know Avi is from the educational system of which we're talking about right now. He is from that system, and he has seen this. He knows it. I've heard him complain about it, so on and so forth. It is certain things in this system of which you cannot go around. It is forbidden. Whereas years ago, certain teachers could come up with their own way of teaching to make kids learn. Those things don't exist as much anymore.
That is true.
Now, I was doing the show Black and White, the show that me and Vince Russo do together.
Yeah.
And Aubrey, we were talking about this one day, and I wish you had been there. But we had Carl on. Carl is in the educational business too.
Right.
Similar to you. Now, the curriculums that they go by nowadays is written in stone. And I was telling Vince, I say, have you noticed the controversy that certain political matters and subjects come up with to make people pissed off about something, and how they use race to do it, but it's done in a roundabout way?
Right.
And I will give you an example, Avi, and everybody out there that's listening. Does anybody remember when everybody was talking about critical race theory?
Absolutely.
By the mere fact that it had the word race in it, that is the only reason you paid attention to it. Because politicians use that to make people afraid.
This is absolutely.
It's going to make little Johnny feel as though he's not worthy. And somebody was teaching critical race theory at this school in Ohio, and somebody did. Right. Critical race theory is not taught anywhere in the continental United States of America between preschool and 12th grade. Nowhere.
Banned across the country.
That is a higher learning curriculum of which I don't even know how many people in college even go through that.
It's being banned in schools. And, again, outside of middle school, high school, even elementary, which is probably where the curriculum should be taught. And there are ways to teach that because, like you said, if it's embedded in you by the time you're in high school, it's already over. Right. Your ignorance will not be able to separate your individual identity.
So, but what I'm saying is this. That was used to make people afraid.
Yes.
Then now you're talking about Haitians.
Right.
Haitians are here legally because the plants in that area needed workers. Right. So they did what they had to do with the United States government to get workers there. Now you see how they're being used to make people afraid again.
Absolutely.
Now you see how, the southern border is used to make people afraid. Everybody's coming after you for some reason, and that's done on purpose. So the reason I'm bringing all those things up,
right,
is because the population and the government that runs everything needs that mindset. So when you ask the question that you're asking, Avi, I don't think so, because it goes against the grain of everything else. Maybe in Stevieville.
Right.
Maybe in Stevieville, but in the American educational system, I don't think so.
I don't think people want to face the fact that they can separate their identity and still admit that racism is prevalent. I think it hits so close to home that when people think about race as to prove they're not racist by coming up with ignorant statements like, I have black friends,
Right.
or I understand the culture, or my neighbor's African American, right there, I think that's the problem.
That's 100% the problem. Well, let me get back to the Triple H thing.
Yeah.
Um,
Because he said something like that. I have
Yes.
a lot of friends who are African Americans outside of WWE. Now, without him knowing, he's digging himself a deeper rabbit hole. I mean, he's going down that. He's shoveling himself a grave that he can't get out of.
well, let me ask you this. Just because it's Triple H, he's not above it, Avi.
No, he's not.
So it's really not surprising to people like you and I, but
No.
it might be surprising to the general public.
Right.
But he lives in that same world of which we are talking about right now.
Yes. A guy like him doesn't understand, and this might be controversial, but he can't remove the blind spot that obscures the fact that America is not great for everyone.
Right. And that's the narrative that has to be pushed. But let me ask you this.
Yes.
As far as the question that was asked to him,
Yes.
how do you feel about that?
I feel
Because
like
this is, before you answer, let me tell you this. So you,
okay.
to make sure you're on the right track of what I'm talking about. What I've always said, and people on this show ask me different things about, let's say factions, let's say the nation of domination, okay?
Yeah.
Or let's say the Hurt Business. And then you turn right around and you see a Bloodline or D-Generation X. How one is pushed, and then you look on the other side how the other is pushed. Those are not accidents. And why are they that way?
It's a great way of putting it. And you would ask me about Triple H maybe not realizing again what he said.
No, I'm not just talking about Triple H in general because he's just a guy now, but I'm talking about something that's pretty much that's been prevalent over the last 20, 25 years.
Well, I think people that say they don't see color, maybe in their estimation, maybe actually committed to that response. But if you don't see color, you don't see the other person's experience either.
Mm-hmm.
You refuse to see their experience. When you say I don't, that word don't, that 4-letter word,
right?
There's a lot that goes into that. It also means you won't see someone's experience because you've never lived it. You've gotten your education about racism, systemic or otherwise, through television shows and documentaries and movies.
If that.
Beyond pop culture, systemic racism, as you brought it up, is all part of what I call the Great Distraction.
Okay, but let me stop you right there. As it pertains to the question that was asked to him about African American representation in WWE.
Yes.
It's pretty evident that the African American contingency in WWE has never been pushed like some of the other cultures. Would you agree or not agree with that?
There is no doubt that you're 100% correct about that. Absolutely. Any error that you bring up, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, this is what I brought up this weekend.
Okay.
Going back to what you were talking about earlier as to who their audience is, and you have to cater to that audience.
Yes.
Okay. All right. I can say Triple H was kind of ignorant with his answer. Okay. But I know Triple H, and I'm not trying to make excuses for him. Okay. Because just because he's in the wrestling business, a person in charge, don't really know he has the real broad, outlook on something that is difficult to be talked about as what you and I are talking about right now.
Sure.
Okay. And I say this because I know, because Avi, I had to educate myself on a lot of things I thought I knew that I didn't know.
Right.
If that makes sense. Okay.
Sure.
So I wanted to go out and, you know, and learn as much as I possibly can from certain tutors out there in the world. You know what I'm saying? The Martin Luther Kings of the world, the Malcolm X's of the world, the Dr. Claude Akins of the world. All
Absolutely.
of these people.
Absolutely.
Okay. So I have to reside to these people to educate myself. Because like I told you, I got to a point in my life, especially when I got in the entertainment business, I promised myself, Avi, you know what I promised myself?
What's that?
I'm never going to be the dumbest guy in the room.
Oh, there's no doubt about that. It's quite the
I'm
opposite.
never going to be the dumbest guy in the room. I'm never going to have a conversation going on around me.
Sure.
And I feel like a damn schmo. Never going to do it.
No.
Because I've been there. You see what I'm saying?
It's hard for me to believe that, because I can never see you or picture you at any time in your life being even close to the dumbest guy in the room. I picture you as being the most educated. But here's why. Because even before you went down, people think, oh, all of a sudden, Stevie Ray was born into the wrestling world. No. you God almighty, the experience you had before you got into pro wrestling was enough to pack into a lifetime.
True. And those are the days I'm talking about.
Right.
You know, the early days. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
And but be it as it may, I'm not trying to get off track here.
Right.
I think going back to what we were talking about with WWE, and this is what I was trying to tell the cat and Bagwell. I don't think we can just lay our hat on that, because we realize something. This is an American company that's catering to the whole world. To the whole world. And they know who their audience is. And I made this assessment, Avi, and I see if you agree with me or not.
Okay.
I said, do you guys remember? I said, you guys don't remember, especially you, Ernest. I said, because I was telling Ernest, you got into this business in a non-conventional way.
Right.
So a lot of ways that you look at things, you know what I'm saying, they're not really 100%.
Sure.
Not saying that you don't have the right to look at them that way.
Right.
But when you get into something that's not conventional, you don't learn the things you really need to learn to have the utmost respect for how this business works. Would you agree with that?
100%.
Okay. I said, well, back in the days, if you know the history of professional wrestling, there were ethnic champions in certain parts of the country.
Very true.
Whether he be Hispanic, whether he be Italian, whether he be African American, Puerto Rican, so on and so forth. I said, now let me ask you guys something. Why do you think that is? Well, one of Ernest's friend, one of his guys that he worked with, said, because they were favorites. Then I had to realize you're a mark. Okay. Right. You're not even getting what I'm saying.
Right.
I say, because everything as far as business goes is driven by what? They're silent. I say everything as far as business goes, business in general goes. And I say, you can take the word wrestling out of it. It's about money, revenue.
Race, you're right. If you go down to New York City, especially 60s, 70s, and 80s,
right,
there was a melting pot of people when wrestling was affordable,
right,
that would pay to see people in their ethnic groups hoist those belts above their shoulders.
There you go.
If you go to other parts of the country where maybe it wasn't as racially inclusive as it was in New York City, you're going to be seeing a guy not only represent white culture, but usually beat people that were considered minorities.
Exactly.
Because of the fact that at the end of the day, the only color that matters is green.
Green.
We are living under a capitalist regime. People forget this. Ideologically speaking, we are telling you as capitalism that the only thing on our mind is money. The only thing on our mind is money. And there is a difference between implicit bias
Mm-hmm.
and racism.
Yes. That is what
Big
I was trying.
difference.
That is what I was trying to explain.
Yes, we have a lot of implicit bias.
Mm-hmm.
But if you think, not you, of course, but if anyone thinks that a multi-billion-dollar company, as Stevie mentioned, is going to allow racism to run rampant when dollars and cents are on the line, you must be crazy. Now, here's the thing, though. A guy like Triple H was working under who? A Vince McMahon, who even though he went public 25 years ago, had a very private sector mentality about running the business.
Mm-hmm.
And when you have a private sector mentality of running the business,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the person that you were considered to, be your protege, you're probably not ready for the position that a lot of the other people running the company now is. Now, I know Triple H is kind of a holdover and he's creative and he knows how to manage himself in the corporate arena, but not with some of the people that are running the company now. This isn't the Vince McMahon-led WE anymore.
Right.
It's a totally different ballgame.
But what I'm saying, what they'll do is pull him to the side and bring him up to speed on questions like that.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? He just don't know how to play the game because that's over his head.
Way over his head. He
That's
never
just
had
over
to.
his head. Yeah, he never
had.
He never had to. Somebody else takes care of that.
Yes.
Somebody else always take care of that. So that's what I was trying to explain to him. Let's not jump to the conclusions. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said, what was his name? Alberto Del Rio became the heavyweight champion twice.
Yeah. Right when they were starting to market in Mexico more than they had in decades, and a year earlier,
which
they had a
goes
global
back
expansion that went to India, and Great Khali wore the strap.
So, which means what? Everything we're saying is what? And Jinder Mahal.
And Jinder Mahal. Everything is about making money. The objective is to make money.
Period. Okay.
That's it.
So we agree on that, right?
Yes, sir.
I hope we made everybody out there. I hope you guys learned something tonight. I hope you did. Like Lama just said, remember Rufus R. Jones, or Rufus R. Train, whatever you said. Yes, remember all of those people. What was that about? That's the same thing Vince and those guys are doing today, except that the 12.8%, who's that? The African-American people in this country.
Yes.
The 12.8% does not matter anymore. It doesn't. So that's why we can look over it now, because everything you see on television, I mean, as far as wrestling goes, is about that fan base.
That is all they care about. That is
and you're not going to see a lot of us paying the kind of money for a WrestleMania ticket that Avi just alluded to. I know I'm not. They will never do it in the numbers that other people do. We won't.
And it's true, because the suits and ties will understand that whether you're a Kofi Kingston or a Biggie Langston,
right?
They understand, although there is a demographic that wants to see those incredible talents hoist those world titles above their shoulders, for the most part, that scares white America still.
And that's what they can't have.
No. Because if they do that, if they promote a different color than white, then they lose the green.
It's that simple, guys. That is today's edification on WWE and professional wrestling and why they do the things they do.
100%. Can I bring something up here, if that's okay with you, about like implicit bias? Because I had a friend, she's a white woman, and we dated a little bit a few years ago, but let's just say she wasn't exactly a she wanted me to go to baseball games. I'm not a basketball guy, but that kind of got in the way a little bit. Man, I come from a family where my dad.
What's going on? What's wrong with going to a baseball game, man?
I'll tell you something, man. I know he might have been wrong in your eyes, and I get this, but my pop comes to this country a basketball fan, and he used to box for a living. Now he had a pretty good record. He was 8-3 before he retired, but
Okay.
he said, "Man, somebody gave me tickets to watch the the '86 Mets after the World Series. So it was the next season." He goes, "I'm sitting there watching this game, and after 2 innings, I'm like, man, has the game started?" They're like, "We're 2 innings in." He goes, "Holy shit, is this the slowest game? I'm sorry that I've ever seen in my entire life." He up and left. After. So again, it's great if you're into baseball. Moves a little too slow for me. But anyway,
me too.
Her name is Cindy, and she said to me, "Look, I don't know why I jogged the other day, and when I left my home, I saw a Latina woman walk outside of her home, and the immediate thought that popped into my head was one word." And I asked, "What was that one word?" She said, "housekeeper." Now, I'll preface it by saying that it was honest for her to say that, and I appreciate her being honest about that.
Right.
And I said that if you stop and consider how that happened, regardless of how you lived your life and believe in justice, the fact that that word popped into your head is what implicit bias is all about.
That's exactly what it is. Exactly what it is.
Words
Alpha
and
Omega.
pop in our heads. Yeah.
Alpha Omegas. Basketball is so unwatchable today. I miss the intensity of the NBA in the 80s and 90s. Well, that's your bad luck, bro. Don't tell us about your bad luck. Because if you don't think basketball is exciting today, then going back to what Avi is talking about, that is your bias.
Right.
Because you can't, if you think the world is going to stop for Alpha Omega and sit there and be dormant for your pleasure, I wish the old porn stars would come back instead of the 10,000 billion we got today.
Right.
I used to know who all the porn stars were. One about 12, 15. Now it's about 12, 15,000. So, I can't keep up. So, I wish it would go back to that. You don't see me bitching.
And plus, if you're a fan of basketball, period, even if you're a purist, if they change the way the game is being played today, that means they lose money. That means there's no league. That means you're not watching the game.
Well, everything goes back to what we've been talking about.
Yes.
You can't stay the same.
Yes.
And stay alive.
No.
You can't stay the same. My boy Cron just said, "Yeah, I miss a thick pinky." I'm with you. Cron. I'm just saying, brother, nothing stays the same. And I'm a fan of baseball. Well, not so much baseball, but when I do watch it, I do. It's not like when I was growing up when you had the Oakland A's or the Big Red Machine.
Oh yeah.
And those guys, that I knew all of them. They didn't need social media to be famous. That's how famous these guys were. But
right,
those guys, those days are over now. I missed getting up, watching sports or reading about sports. Now everybody is told about sports. Everything that you think today, somebody has told you how to think. That is why old Ray Dog gets into it with you guys all the time, because you're actually regurgitating what somebody has told you to say, and told you how to think.
You guys should really listen to this, because when Stevie does speak, he tries to provoke thought. And because you're not conditioned to that, not you specifically in the audience, but you're not conditioned to it because we're conditioned to digesting news and information through sound bites today.
Exactly.
That's it. And hey, just want to say hey to, I think this is, if I'm not mistaken, Mr. KB, how you doing? Real Cold G, Mystify D, Kron. You guys are great. I will ask Stevie a quick question, though, about a comment that was made by Anthony Edwards.
Okay.
You probably heard about this. He made a comment.
I think I know what you're saying.
About how the only talented player that really could have survived in the league today was a Michael Jeffrey Jordan. Magic took offense to that. Did you?
No, I didn't. Because what you're looking at is today, Abby, and stay with me on this, Abby.
Yeah.
What you're looking at is today's young African American athlete
Right.
who has no idea of the history in the game of which he plays in.
So true.
That is the difference. That is the difference. This guy's a super talented guy. You have to realize something. Kids came up. Now, he's not even old enough to see a Michael Jordan game. So how would he know that?
Exactly.
The only thing he knows about Michael Jordan is the lore,
Yes.
the verbiage
Yes.
that's put out there, the videotapes.
Correct.
So in essence, it falls back to what we're talking about. You've been taught to think that way.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
in essence, you have no idea of your history.
No.
Most African Americans, period, these days, somebody of his ilk and his age does not have a clue of what African American history is about. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
So just because he's a basketball player, Avi, and we're speaking of the young African American man, the kids know what is he, 23 years
Yeah,
old?
about 22, 23, yeah.
Yeah. You see what I'm saying? So he knows nothing other than playing basketball and what's going on with a hip hop beef.
Right. Right.
That's it.
Right.
So you really can't get mad at him or take credence to that because he's emblematic of today's young African American male, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. Yes, and that is all systemic. You're right about that. I think
Goes back to everything that you just said.
Yes. And again, think about distractions even outside of race that have been forgotten about because they were a sign of the times. Like, what happened with the ozone layer? Did it get patched up? To my knowledge,
yes, it got patched up. It's not a hole in it anymore. I thought you heard that.
Right?
I thought you heard that, man.
Fine. Everything's good. Yeah, you took care. All of a sudden, the ozone layer isn't a problem. All of a sudden.
Yeah, you remember you was gonna burn up and get sunburned.
Yeah, it's true. I don't get tanned. I get burned, man. So
I'm just saying, man. They fixed it.
All of a sudden, they fixed it. They took care of it. I didn't even see it on CNN headline news. It was nowhere.
Yeah, they tape it up with that new Gorilla tape. I don't know if you've seen that.
Do you remember that? Do you remember how about the rainforests?
Hey, brother, nature cures itself. Nature cures itself, man.
Oh, gee, I was so naive to think that maybe, just maybe for a split second, I thought that the powers that be wanted to pull the wool over our eyes. Silly me. Why would that happen, Stevie?
Because, brother, for every chapter that you read, it's another one coming right after it.
Absolutely.
All of this stuff is connected in some way, shape, or form, man. Everything. Everything's connected. It's just like that. It's just like I've gotten into arguments with people. People have always asked me, Avi, about do I believe? Well, you and I have talked about this. Well, I don't even want to talk about it, man. We're gonna go into something else.
Right.
You guys will be into a Stevie Ray, Avi the Professor, diatribe that might last all night. So I'm not going to go in it. We're going to stay on topic, Avi. But Avi, I'm going to tell you something, brother.
Yes, sir.
Oh, excuse me. I appreciate you coming on the show, man. And
without question.
And that's what we need, guys.
I want to tell you
this is why I bring the professor on the show, man, because we want to bring up things. I want to bring up things and not do my usual stuff where I'm talking about this, that, and the other, and so on and so forth, and making jokes and having fun. And it's always good to have that. But it's always, I want to try to implement a little bit more structure into the show, if you guys don't mind. And I don't think you guys mind because it seemed like you guys were keeping up very well. And I love all the comments and things of that nature.
I do want to say this to you really quickly because it's important that you know how he was looking forward to meeting you.
Who's that?
We lost a dear friend of mine, John Amos, last week.
Power on.
Oh, yeah.
And I do have, if it's cool with you, it's not really long, but I aired a tribute video for John. And when I told John about you, Stevie, about 2 months ago, when I said, hey, I would like to have you on screen with Stevie because I think you guys can have a great conversation, not just about the obvious, which is
Mhm.
film, which is a racial bias in the industry,
Mhm.
but having a good time and being able to bond on all things humanity. He was
Mhm.
looking forward to it. He was a gentleman. I wrote for him. He had a project called Haley's Comet, which was a one-act play.
Mhm.
I modified it as a screenplay for him. And in the last 2 years, getting to know John 3 times a week and breaking bread with him, there was never a more calming presence than Mr. Amos. And he was a legendary human being before considered, in my opinion, as a legendary talent. Former NFL player. The guy did it all.
He
And,
was, man.
great
He
human being.
was. He was. And hey, from good times to roots, brother.
My God.
You know what I'm saying?
My God.
From
I
good
mean, he
times. I don't know if a lot of you guys out there saw the miniseries. One of the first miniseries that started in television was Roots. The two
Highest
first
rated.
miniseries that ever showed on television was Rich Man, Poor Man, and Roots.
That was with Nick Nolte, Rich Man, Poor Man.
Yes.
And you're with Roots, it's still the highest rated miniseries of all time, Stevie.
Is that crazy?
Insane.
That crazy.
I aired the following on Saturday, man, and it kind of touched a lot of people, brother. He was one hell of a guy. He really was.
Kron says, watching Good Times won't be the same. Yeah, brother, we've lost 3 people from that show. Actually 4, Bookman also. But hey, man, they left us the memories, bro.
They did.
They left us the memories, man. And that's what's important, man. It's the memories, man.
It is.
And what that show really was all about. That show was about family, man. That show was about family.
Well said.
Whether you got it, trying to get it, or don't have it, at the end of the day, they had each other. And that's a lost element in today's media.
Well said.
As far as it pertains to the African-American family. Think about that. Because if somebody ain't selling drugs, peddling drugs, shooting somebody, killing somebody, being misogynistic toward women, so on and so forth, as far as television, movies go,
Sure.
It ain't even worth watching for us. That's just another old Stevie Ray proverb.
Hey, listen,
anyway.
before you even play that video I just queued up, before you even play that, Stevie, I want to
Okay.
bring this up to everybody. Guys, I say this to Stevie, and it's via text or over the phone. You all need to remember something about this show. This show inspired me to be doing what I'm doing right now. Do you guys realize I don't teach in classrooms anymore because I was inspired to do something that Stevie started doing years before podcasting became popular. He's got radio experience too. When Stevie started doing his first podcast, I realized that there is an audience that wants to have an element of truth in their lives provided to you by people like Stevie. But there aren't too many people like Stevie that can provide that. So watching him do his thing made me do my thing, which is why you got to let other people watch this show as much as you can so they could do their thing by being inspired by him the way he inspired me. Watch this show because you will be entertained. You'll cut it up and have a good time. But the education you get here, I promise you, this is from the bottom of my heart, guys. You're not going to receive an education like this anywhere else. I promise you that. So don't take this show for granted because it has something for everybody.
I appreciate that, bro.
Hell yeah.
Is this your video here?
Yeah, Mr.
Okay,
John.
let's bring it up.
He gave us everything, not merely half. He always took care of the riff-raff. Everyone dropped their dimes as they told their friends to tune into Good Times. He always took care, guys and gals. It didn't matter if you were struggling or wearing suits. We all watched Roots. Who could forget my date in 1989 with Erica? We went to see Coming to America. He's a fellow North Jersey native. The man is quite creative.
I taught U.S. history, but it's no mystery that this man is an inspiration, not simply famous. I welcome to the program Mr. John Amos.
Man, what an introduction. I hope I can live up to that. God bless you.
God bless you, my friend. God bless you. You will always live up to that. And by the way, a fellow North Jersey native.
Absolutely. New Jersey's the best training in the world for you. You get a PhD in reality.
A PhD in reality. I totally agree with that, my friend.
Man, what an introduction. I hope I can live up to that. God bless you.
Working a ton of jobs along the way, regardless of the job, did you feel like it served you in good stead as an actor later in life because it provided, in essence, hands-on experience? And is it accurate to mention that you didn't consider acting until you exhausted maybe just about every job?
I'm in Canada. I get cut from my last football team, which would be the BC Lions.
Right.
And by then I was just hanging on to what I hope would be an athletic career by a thin web. I mean, I was getting cut every time. I got cut from one team before I even reported to camp. We had an arts teacher, Mr. Wolverton. And Mr. Wolverton casually mentioned to me one day in study hall that, hey, John, why don't you come out and read for this part and play one of my convicts? We're doing The Man Who Came to Dinner. I mean, myself on the far right. So there we are at my very first stage performance, and I said, I love doing this. This is great. I get to pretend, and that's all acting is pretending.
Let's give it up for the talented, humble, kind Mr. John Amos. Welcome to the green room again, my friend.
Well, thank you, Avi. Thank you. That's an incredible introduction, and I really, really appreciate it. I'll try to live up to it.
You always do, my friend.
I'll try to live up to it.
You always do, my friend. Although something occurred on May 28th, 1961, not many people recall that, and I want to bring it up. Amnesty International.
Yeah, refresh their memory, please, Avi.
This was a campaign that it called for the release of all people, guys and gals, that were imprisoned, essentially, in various parts of the globe, not just the nation, because of the peaceful expression of their beliefs.
Exactly. Thank you for bringing that up, Avi. I really appreciate you being mindful of the power that you have in being able to bring up issues that otherwise would be swept under the carpet. Thank you for that.
Not simply famous. I welcome to episode number 1 of A Good Time with John, Mr. John Amos.
Hey there, buddy. How you doing?
John, what do you think is more underrated? Hole-in-the-wall coffee shops, restaurants named Food and Stuff, or diners simply named Eats? But in the distance, on the left, a Seoul neon sign flashes saying Eats.
Exactly. A reminder to consume some calories, and if you're going to do that, this is the place. Eat.
Eats, guys and gals. I know that we hit it off a lot, but we also broke bread in New York.
Yes, we
and
did.
I like how a conversation brought two people together.
Yes, it did. And thank you, because I enjoyed the conversation as well.
Did you feel as if transitioning to the stage and performing live theater was a natural fit for you?
Yes, I did. I always felt very comfortable on stage, more so on stage than I did in film or television. That was my medium. That's where I did my best and strongest and most confident work.
Thank you. And John, would you say that as educators, we have a duty to keep the past and history alive with our youth?
Absolutely. And the fact that we have this podium, this opportunity to speak to millions of people at one time, we've got to use it to rectify the issues that are confronting us. Like the murder of these school children, the murder of this senior a few days earlier or a week earlier. It's gotten out of hand because we are not taking advantage of the freedoms that we have in this country, the freedoms to address these issues.
Guys and gals, coming to the new network in the mid to late summer. It is going to be a good time with John Amos and Avi Klein. John, your thoughts? I know you're pumped up about this venture, my friend.
Looking forward to making this contact with the audience along with you as my partner in this crime. And I think we're going to have a wonderful time and provide a lot of wonderful listening for a lot of people. You've got a tremendous following, Avi, and I'm proud and I'm so happy and excited about joining you in this venture.
Friend, and by the way, I'll just say this without getting into too much detail. Looking forward to seeing you in person very soon, my friend, in Jersey, a place that we both call home.
Absolutely. Born and raised in Jersey.
Right you are, right you are. I want to play a clip, but before I play the clip, John, would you be able to maybe set this up for our audience so they know what they might be taking a look at?
But anything that you want to comment on is okay with me because I love your delivery and your style, man. I mean, you got nothing but energy and it's all positive. So bring it on.
Sometimes I know
I'm
I
having
can
a
hear
problem
that
with
child
my
laughing,
Wi-Fi.
Mr. Cummings. See,
There you
Ann
go.
is the only daughter that has preceded me in death. I lost 3 of my boys, but she's the only daughter. Once you get up to that New York City, then the cab driver want to take you to the airport by way of Western Kentucky.
That was the essence of the one-man show. Little excerpts that you saw in this piece about Haley's will now develop into either a mini-series or a full-blown. I'm leaning towards a series. We've been getting, so I'm looking forward to you, Avi, giving me your thoughts and your input. Because as I told you, that piece that you sent me is, I love good writing, and I think
Thank
that's
you,
been
sir.
the secret of my career. And this is a beautiful piece of writing, as I said. I'm referring to the piece that you wrote me. You're onto something because you're a writer. You're a creative force, and I want to hook up.
Thank you so much for those kind words, guys.
And you are passionate about your work. You love what you do. And I love to work with people that are passionate because it feeds us.
Guys and gals, so one of the most iconic and resonating fathers in TV history, of course, was James Evans Sr.
This is the question I asked him about white America. I'm about to ask him a question about the Hollywood writers over here that were white and didn't understand the culture, Stevie.
Did you feel as if some of the writers of the show theorized perhaps maybe what some of your reactions would be on, I don't know, maybe they had an LA or a Beverly Hills kind of point of view as writers?
I couldn't have put it more succinctly and more accurately myself. Now, how about that? You nailed it, bro. You nailed it. And that was a bone of contention, their perception of what his reactions would be.
But sometimes simplification is the ultimate poetry because it was a father who loved his family, and that spoke to everybody.
You got times simplest is best.
We have the following options: unicycles, burping with melody, or 95-year-old women resorting to profanity.
I'd love to see the 95-year-old woman belching with profanity.
That's close. We can combine them.
Yeah, okay. Profane belching.
Profane belching. Guys, a quick moment of levity. But I realized the other day that the object of golf,
Now, this was 4 days before he died, but guys.
is to play the least amount of golf. Truth?
You get a lot of birdies, then you don't have to keep swinging and swinging.
Right. If you could get a hole in one on every hole,
Exactly.
minimize the amount of playing that you do.
True.
Spend one time at the clubhouse having a nice cold beer.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Because I don't believe that this is all there is. I know there's something else, but I'd like to believe there's something else besides this plane of existence. But what, I don't know. But I know it'll be filled with challenges, but it'll answer a lot of questions that I have and I've had all my life. So I'm looking forward to the transition to some degree, and it'll be interesting to see what happens and what the future holds once the transition is made. So I'm looking forward to you, Avi, giving me your thoughts and your input, because as I told you, that piece that you sent me is, I love good writing, and I think
Thank you, sir.
my career, and this is a beautiful piece of writing. As I said, I'm referring to the piece that you wrote me. You're onto something, because you're a writer, you're a creative force, and I want to hook up. We'll continue to tell stories until the story reaches the end.
Thank you for being you, my friend. I appreciate you and respect you wholeheartedly.
And that goes double for me to you, Avi.
Thank you, my friend. I hope you have an absolutely magnificent evening.
And you as well, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
John Amos, guys and gals. Thank you, John.
Wow, brother. Queen hey, Queen, what's going on? We were sitting here looking at a tribute to John Amos and Avi. I appreciate you dropping that clip, man. And we all can pay homage to a man that we all grew up watching, bro. That we all grew up watching. We all wish we had a dad like that, because he was the ultimate dad in an African-American family. Never been one like him since. But with all that being said,
I want to say this real publicly, guys. That wouldn't have happened. I'm getting emotional now, but that wouldn't have happened without Stevie, because whether he knows it or not, he inspired me to try to be the best I could be. And that was about 4 or 5 years ago. To this day, I owe a lot to Stevie Ray.
I appreciate that, brother. And hey, man, you're doing your thing, brother. That's why we call you. That's why a lot of people don't know this. Only I call him the professor. That's the name that I gave him. You know,
that's right. That's right.
You guys can call him the professor too, but I always think about, a professor at a college. You know what I'm saying? That takes young minds and shape them into something that can endear to them and send them out in the world, and they become something. And that's how I look at Mr. Avi Klein.
I'm very humbled. And speaking of being sent out to the world, guys, you might be seeing Stevie Ray out in the world doing Straight Shoot with Stevie Ray circa Greece. Live on location in Greece when he wins this whole tournament. That's my prediction.
Hey, brother. Well, hey, I'm going to be on it, man. I'm telling you right. I'm telling you that right now.
I know it.
I'm going to be on it, bro.
I know it.
But it's going to be it's going to be something to see, man. But hey, brother, everybody out there that's watching, man, hey, become a subscriber. Come on, man.
Yes.
Let all your friends know. Hit everybody up. Give me the thumbs up. Give me the likes. We're going to keep this thing going. And like I told you before, we're working on a few things to make this show bigger than what it is. So that's what we're doing. But I appreciate the Professor Avi Klein coming by tonight, sharing that video tribute to Mr. John Amos, man, because he deserves it, brother. And he'll never be forgotten.
Yes,
and that's the great thing about video. You will always be forever young. And you will always inspire somebody, because you're never going anywhere.
Amen.
Even when you're gone, you're not gone. Forever young. John Amos, Avi Klein. Any parting words, Avi?
Always honored to share the virtual screen with you, my friend.
Well, I appreciate that, brother. But like I said, guys, if nothing else, for my man Avi Klein, I'm Stevie Ray. And remember, be one. Peace.